there's a lot of stress and challenge that women face that I don't think they're talking about it as much. They kind of are. They're bringing it
Mm-hmm.
up on social media from time to time, maybe when they have a meltdown or they went through bad experience, and this is after the fact. But I think there's a lot more struggle. Maybe there always was, but there's a lot more expectations that women are expected to uphold and to be and to look a certain way and to act a certain way and be a certain way and be successful, but also be a great mom and a great wife, and make sure you go to the gym, make sure you eat super healthy, and make sure you take care of everybody else. And I think it's impossible. So this isn't
Yep.
necessarily spoken outright with the women that I talk with, but I can sense there's a lot going on. And then as women get into their 40s and 50s, if they have aging parents, that's added on to them as well, especially if you're a female, because typically, again, generalizing, but a lot more women that get old, that are older, take care of their parents, or they're the kind of the power of attorney, so to speak. And I just feel like there's, maybe 50 years ago, there wasn't as many women in the workforce. And it wasn't even expected.
Mm-hmm.
And if you didn't work, that was okay. And I think it was a smaller percentage that did actually get a job or go to medical school or become an attorney or get into politics. But nowadays, I feel like women are like, I'm not working, but I'm taking care of my kids. But is that okay? Should I be working? Or the opposite is true. If you don't have children and it's just you and you're just taking care of yourself, and maybe you've got a partner, it's like, are you selfish because you don't have a family? So I feel like there's a lot of pressure for women to be all things, and this conversation is definitely coming to the surface more and more. I think it should come up even further and discuss, because I think there's a lot of, I mean, look on social media and you see these perimenopausal and menopausal women that are like at the gym and doing barbell classes. And that's like a big trend right now, which I think is incredible, that just
Mm-hmm.
because you're in your 40s and 50s and you're gaining weight, that doesn't mean that you need to just let it all go and let yourself go and, suffer with your health. But I do think that that pressure can cause a lot of meltdowns and a lot of anxiety and depression with women, maybe men too. I'm not going to speak to that, but
Mm-hmm.
I think when women can share in groups, in confidential groups, or women's circles, in a place where they feel safe to say, "Hey, I'm struggling too. I hate the fact that we have to do all these things and wear all these hats and still keep it all together." I think that awareness is going to help shift things quite a bit.
Yeah. Oh my God. Absolutely. And to your point, I think the conversation is so important. I think really recognizing that even though you have all this opportunity, it doesn't mean you need to take all the opportunities. I think that coming to terms for myself, it wasn't even coming to terms, but I had this higher awareness with myself to connect to that and to feel empowered and confident in making choices for yourself. I've had women that I work with who have a lot of weight to lose and just they feel that inner sense of permission and the weight comes off. Things just balance better. And I feel like that is such an important part of healing as well as supplements, as well as, food medicine and all that stuff too. I think it's that inner sense of permission, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, just hearing you speak about when you just like let it all go and you just like exhale and you're like, do I really want to do that? Do I really want to take on that project? Do I really want to pursue that another certification? Do I really want to have children or not? Do I really want to do this? And when you can finally not only get the clarity, but that authentic connection with yourself, that intuition, where you're like, nope, this is this is a hell no, and it should be a hell yes. I mean, I really need to tune into that and say no to the things that no longer are part of my path, and I don't want them part of my path, and I need to do things that feel good to me and they're healthy and they're nourishing. And that takes a lot of courage, to be honest. I mean, that really takes a lot of courage in this day and age, because we're so like conditioned to like, oh, we got to do this and this perfectionism, we got to do another class, another program, and drive this car or live in this neighborhood, whatever. And I think when you can finally just say, no, this is who I am. And I think that nervous system becomes more grounded, more centered, more rooted. And then that's when you're no longer tight. You're no longer like restricted and contracted. And your nervous system has that beautiful dance between the parasympathetic and sympathetic. And then all of a sudden, your body's no longer in fight or flight all the time. And then now your body's
Yep.
able to burn through the reserves and burn through the fat. And now you're like, your weight's a little bit easier to maintain.
Exactly. And I just feel like it's so nice to hear you as a professional doctor acknowledge and say that. I think that's really important for people to hear. I do think that there's value in that, and and that's one of the reasons why I was really looking forward to this conversation, because it is really something that, though the conversation is being had more, I do think there are still medical doctors that are hesitant to really, um, anchor their flag on that.
Yeah, I sometimes I feel like I'm in a bubble myself, because I do know, yes, there are still doctors that are very, and not just conventional medical doctors, other types of alternative holistic functional and naturopathic doctors. Sometimes we can get very, what's the word, we're very guarded in our way of doing things, and this is the way we've always done it. I mean, there was this recent interview, this was it Dr. McDougall, I think. He was like the vegan physician
Mm.
that just passed away, and he was a big staunch advocate for a vegetarian diet and the many advantages, and he didn't want to see another possibility of eating animal protein or eating other types of diets. And he was so closed off and so restricted to any other possibility. So it's not just mainstream medicine, but sometimes I think in my own little world, like, oh, this is how everybody is. And it's like, no, that's not how a lot of people see medicine or healthcare or insurance or what they should put into their body. And I think I'm totally guilty of this, that I assume people know more. I assume because of the internet and because maybe they've been to other doctors and other practitioners that they know all this information. And I forget, which is actually okay. I forget that people, they really do need guidance. They really do need education and support and resources. But they also need it for their body, for their preference, for their lifestyle, for what works for their health. And that's
Mhm.
again why I love, functional naturopathic medicine, is because it very much is personalized to that person. And that's really the hallmark of personalized medicine, is you're meeting the person where they're at. You're still giving them guidance, you're still giving them information, like this, I really think like this might be something that would help you. I mean, I have seen a fair number of clients over the years where they eat a certain way and they think that's the way they've always done it and that's the way they have
Yeah.
to do it for the rest of their lives, or they've always been a runner, or they've always done this in their life. And it's like, well, is that really working for you? Can I show you
Mhm.
maybe another possibility? You give them the information and then they can make that decision. So um and again, that's the uniqueness of every human being, is that it really should be tailored to that person.
For sure. And then them taking that action, being awake to the feedback they get from taking that action, and then hopefully, um, iterating or really just accepting that verified experience to further enhance the behavior change, hopefully. I think that that's important as well.